When I was a kid, I invented a lot of stuff for a kid. Played with electronics, batteries, motors. I took a lot of things apart, put them back together when I could. So how things worked was very important to me. I was always curious as to how things worked. So I started creative engineering right out of college in 1973, and my intention was to build a company that was going to solve the problem of America's energy crisis. That's really what I wanted to do. I did build a car that got really high gas mileage because it was based on a go-kart principle, very lightweight, small engine, and it happened just at the right time in 1973 when the price of gas was soaring and we were being held up by the oil companies telling us that there wasn't any more gas available. So everybody loved my little car that got really high gas mileage, and I went to work, started creative engineering, and thought that's what I was going to be doing with my life.
So in order to raise capital, he merely worked on a few more futuristic ideas and built them into a multi-million-dollar business called creative engineering.
As the world turned, by the year 1980, I had started a contract with Bob Brock to build 280 Showbiz Pizza Place restaurants that would feature my animatronics.
Ladies and gentlemen, the world's most advanced entertainment has now joined forces with the world's finest pizza.
You've never seen a place like Showbiz Pizza Place. We'll serve you a pizza second to none. So come for pizza, stay for the fun.
Showbiz Pizza Place with over 60 electronic games, pizza baked fresh every day, and a stage show extravaganza on 3 stages.
So come for pizza, stay for the fun.
During those years that we were manufacturing those shows for Showbiz Pizza Place, man, we were just running to catch up with ourselves. We had put on 325 employees doing everything from artistic work, music. We had a full studio going, mechanics, welders, you name it. It was in this building and we were doing it. We had a very complete organization. We built everything from scratch right here at Creative Engineering. We didn't want anything to be done outside of our company because we couldn't control the quality or the time at which it would come in. And we were constantly running hard to meet those deadlines. I looked forward and thought that we were going to be building a tremendous entertainment place for kids to come and see rock and roll being performed by robots, and actually a great place to develop technology, because Showbiz Pizza Place was going to give me money to develop the technology. And so I got to keep my research facility moving at high speed, coming up with all these new retrofits that would make the show better. And every year there would be new things come out, including retrofits and second-generation characters, third-generation characters. And by the year 2000, it was my dream that the characters would be so realistic that they would actually be playing their own instruments.
This is Tim Inglis. Tim Inglis is our representative from the Mechanical Research and Development Department. Hey Tim, you guys have been involved in some good research, huh? What y'all been building lately?
Oh man, we got second generation characters like Mitzi and Duke coming up, and
what's going to be different about them?
Oh man, they're going to have a lot better movements and be more fluid movements and easier to build and cheaper and all them good things.
As you can see here, this is the new Mitzi that Tim was speaking of.
Jasmine says to Molly, girl, I like your face. And Molly says she takes him by the hand. Obla-dee, obla-da, life goes on. Run, la la, how the life goes on. Obla-dee, obla-da, life goes on. Run, la la, how the life goes on. And if you want some fun, take obla-dee, bla-da.
Take a look at those arm movements, would you? Those arms come in front of her body. She is really going to be able to perform. Picture that character who is just going through some routine movements right there, singing Tomorrow or her part in Abbey Road. We're real excited about the show business potential that the new Mitzi is going to have. You know, They're also working on new Dukes that can play the drums better, and new Beach Bears that can maybe even stand up, and maybe even walk. The characters we hope will someday walk and perform like real characters. We really believe there's a phenomenon that's growing in Showbiz Pizza Place right now, and it's in the form of electronimation.
Well, when we opened our 100th restaurant in Dallas, that was when we got wind of problems brewing. We got the word from Bob Brock that we were losing money hand over fist. We were told that that was the end. There was going to be no more restaurants opened. By 1985, we had been playing with, and when I say we, I'm talking about Showbiz Pizza Place, had been playing with a lot of ideas to save the company. And a lot of crazy ideas, I might add. You know, in fact, to me, most of the ideas were going to do nothing but shoot ourselves in the foot. Well, when they finally had their idea that they were sure was going to save Showbiz Pizza Place, it was just the financial geniuses decided that was the way it was going to work. It was the worst idea in the world. They wanted to merge with Chucky Cheese. And it wasn't just a merger, they were going to take over Chucky Cheese's assets. So now we, Showbiz Pizza Place, would own the Chucky Cheese name, we would own the Chucky Cheese characters, and God only knows what we were supposed to do with them. They were asking me questions like, would you mind maintaining the Chucky Cheese shows? Would you mind building more of the Chucky Cheese shows? And I said, yeah, I would mind that very much. We've just spent years developing a much superior show, a show that would really entertain people, a show that's Disney quality, and now you want me to become the purveyor of the Chucky Cheese show? It's not going to happen. Well, they still didn't own my characters. The Showbiz Pizza Place company just licensed the right to use my characters. So they gave me a proposition. They said, Aaron, we really like your characters better. I said, well, thank you very much. It's kind of pleasing that you would have that opinion after all these years together. And they said, but we want to own your characters. If we can't own them, we just as soon use Chuck E. Cheese characters. I said, well, you know what? You said a mouthful there. You said that you don't really appreciate having a better artistic show. You don't appreciate having animatronics that we've worked so hard to put so much into. You're willing to put Chuck E. Cheese shows in your restaurants? Yeah, we don't care. Little kids don't care. You know, who cares? I said, well, somebody cares. You'll see. And good luck to you. And that's how we parted company. So as we went our different directions, of course, I had 80 shows I had to do something with. And our settlement and license agreement allowed us to go our separate ways, allowed me then to start selling my shows to other customers, other restaurants, amusement parks, entertainment centers. We would make them a good deal on a show and put them in all over the place. Korea, Saudi Arabia bought a few, Israel bought 3 shows, and we sold a bunch in the United States to mom and pop entertainment centers. And then about in the 90s, we hit a good deal with Pistol Pete's Pizza and Peter Piper's, where they needed a bunch of shows, like 15 or 20. Now, during all of that time, during the 80s and the 90s, I was developing something that I thought was much more important than any of this, and that was the anti-gravity freedom machine. Back in the early 80s, I found out that I needed to communicate with 200 restaurants, and there was no way to do it with the telephone. We didn't even have fax machines in 1980-81. The fax machine didn't come out until 1987. So during those years where I really needed to communicate, I discovered the need for email. And I started developing a very simple email system, and I started fantasizing and believing that I would be the father of modern email, that I would tie the whole world together with email someday when I finally explained to everybody why it was so important and what good it was going to do you, and how you could time shift your conversations with people from immediately when they call you on the phone to whenever you want to, whenever you can get to it. So as I was trying to explain the value of email to people, I did find a few beta testers who let me set up my email systems, my anti-gravity freedom machines, as I called them. And they worked out pretty well. So I was very encouraged that email would be the communication platform of the future. That would be how we would communicate with each other. When I finally had my anti-gravity freedom machine ready to go, darn it if that wasn't when the internet kicked. And at that point, there was no way to sell my machine because the internet connected everybody up with email practically for free.